There it is. The Sonicware Liven 8-bit warps. Let's check it out. Oh, little card for you for the sound adventurer. We'll look at that later. Alrighty. And here we go. Packaged in there very nicely. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that a beauty? Alright, so here it is. It's kind of got some nice chiclet keys, a little bit like was on the Sonicware ELZ1, which, by the way, if anyone would like a nice size comparison between the two. Alright, so let's do some initial comparisons between the Sonicware ELZ1 and the Sonicware Liven 8-bit warps. As you can see, they actually look pretty similar, even though they are shaped rather different. As far as touching them and feeling the build quality, the Sonicware ELZ1 has a nice metal housing. The Liven 8-bit warps, it's almost as heavy as the ELZ1, but it's in a plastic housing, but there's nothing wrong with that. I actually think it's built quite well. I really like how it feels. It's got a nice matte feeling to it. Obviously, the screens are going to be a little bit different. We'll get to that later once we actually power these on. But as far as the keyboard goes, both of them obviously have a small chiclet-style keyboard. I know some people aren't a big fan of it, but I actually like that. I love carrying the ELZ1 around with me and playing with different tracks just kind of here and there. The work that I do allows me to carry this around with me, and I really do love the ELZ1 for that matter. They both have a speaker on them, and also to bring over here the Korg Volca FM, just for a little bit of a size comparison, you can see that the Sonicwares are definitely larger than the Korg Volca, but at the same time they're not huge. They're not just something that's massive to carry around with you, or even to have in your home studio. They're very compact. I like the way they feel, and I love the 8-bit sound that they have. And also here too, I love that on the box it has kind of an 8-bit look to it. I know the ELZ1 has made some really cool chiptune sounds. Alright, so some other things that I want to point out real quick. You'll notice here there's a lot more going on the front of the Liven 8-bit warps than on the ELZ1. You can see there's some controls on the back side of the ELZ1. That is not the case with the Liven 8-bit warps. You can rotate it around. Everything is smooth and flush. The only other real activity you have going on here is the battery compartment. And I've got the 6 AA batteries slipped in the back there. Let's power on the Sonicware Liven 8-bit warps. Alright, so there's a lot going on here. There's about 80 keys and knobs on this instrument, but Sonicware has done a great job of making it easy to use by not overloading each of these buttons with an excessive amount of features. They have it pretty well marked, some with all uppercase font and then others with all lowercase, making it match up well with each button's main operation and then with its secondary function, and then in a few cases you have a white box marking your shift. That really is a very useful thing to do. And in fact, when you hit a lot of these buttons, like pattern, it's green, then it's orange, then it's off. They have different colors to really help you understand what's going on here. They've also got a Midi out and a Midi in port up here, so you can use a larger keyboard in case you don't want to use this chiclet keyboard down here. And really that's the best way I know how to describe this, is a chiclet keyboard. I don't mind the chiclet keyboard myself. I actually think it's pretty great. It works really well as compared to some other small synthesizers. Having something that you can actually use while you carry this around, I think the chiclet keyboard is just fine. But if you want to plug in a larger keyboard, you've got your Midi in. But even more special is this Midi out port, so you can use this synthesizer's sequencer on something like a micro Korg or some other instrument you have which doesn't have its own sequencer built in. And while we're on the point of sequencing, why don't we jump in and see what it's like to actually put together a sequence on this. So we're going to hit our pattern button and see where we're at. We're at pattern number 5. And you can have up to 128 patterns saved on this. And you can run your knob over here and you can select them. Again, everything's really nicely labeled. You can hit your pattern key, have it green, and then you can just scroll around to find whatever pattern you want. It really is very nice. But we're going to come back to pattern 5 for now. And we want to clear that pattern, so we're going to hit clear and then pattern. There, the pattern's clear. And let's see what it's like. we want this to be, why don't we just have a short sequence on here. We're going to press function, length, and we're going to cut this back to 16 steps for now. Now, there are two ways that we can record a pattern on this. We can hit the record button and manually add a sequence in, and we'll do that now. And then when you play it, it'll work something like that. Let's clear that out and see if we can tie those notes together, shall we? We're going to hit function, have that tie in there. Okay. Now we're going to go back and record again. And look at that. You can have your notes tied together or you can have them separate. Now that's one way to record a sequence on here, but you can also do it while it's playing. And if you want a metronome to help, hit your function, metronome. Again, all this stuff is really easily labeled. And that's one of the reasons why I'm walking through some of this basic stuff, just to show how well labeled this synth is. It really is quite amazing. And say you like that pattern, let's go ahead and save it, shall we? We'll hit function, pattern, and then OK, and it is done. It is saved. But say you mess up a note. Say you have something in there that doesn't sound quite right. Well, you can just easily pause your pattern, come over here and hit clear, and just cancel out the steps that were messed up. Really, really easy design. I know I'm going over some basic stuff here, but I just wanted to show how easy it is to use the Sonicware Liven 8-bit warps. Well, let's go ahead and expand our pattern out and actually add some more stuff into it, and then we'll have fun with some of the different sounds on here. We'll hit function, pattern length, and make this out to about 64. We'll go ahead and save that in case we make any mistakes. Turn our metronome on. Alrighty. Alright, we want to save that to another pattern slot, so we'll hit function, pattern. We're going to change that to 6. Alright, now we have that changed in pattern 6. Alright, well, let's add in a new line to that. We'll just go ahead and save that. Okay, so one of the cool things about this, you can hit the pattern button twice, it'll turn orange, and then you can select what patterns you would like in whatever order. Alright, so let's look at how we might chain patterns together. You hit the pattern button twice and it'll turn orange. Again, nice color coding there. And you can pick which order of sequences you'd like to play. I hit 6, 7, and then 5, it'll play pattern 6, then 7, and then 5. And it'll remain on pattern 5 until you hit some more keys. Alright, so we're going to add a melody to this pattern. We'll stop that recording. Now we'll save it. Pattern 8. And now we're going to swap between different patterns. It's very easy to do. All you've got to do is just hit a button. Swap to pattern 6, and then 8, and then 5. Whatever order that you press these buttons, that is the order that the pattern will move. It chains them in conjunction with the pattern which you play. It really is great. Whatever order you select the patterns is the order that it will play the chain. Now we'll just play around with some of the sounds. Yeah, I really like that detune. And you can come over here and modify your attack and release. Your decay and sustain are also here as well. Modify that detune again. Sonicware really has done a great job of labeling all of these knobs, and they're just so easy to use. This synth is really well designed. Yep, everything's just great. You've got your keys here. Everything's just so easy to use. All right, Sonicware has just done an absolutely great job of setting this up where it's very easy to hit all the buttons that you want to. There's really not anything to be confused about. It's well labeled and it's easy to access. So overall, this is a fantastic synth. I've only spent a few minutes with it and I can already tell it is going to be a lot of fun. Whether you're somebody who knows a lot about synthesis music, who's a pro, or you're someone like myself who's just a hobbyist, the Sonicware Liven 8-bit Warps really is a powerful little synthesizer, and we'll wrap it up there.